So here we go with chapter 1, number 43. In this problem, we've got multiple vectors as an object goes around a circle, multiple velocity vectors. The speed is always 4 meters per second. The thing that changes is the direction, and we're asked to analyze some different things. In question A, we're asked to find the change in velocity as it moves from A to B. Remember, a change in anything is final minus initial. So the change from A to B is going to be B minus A, and this is relatively easy because the vectors are in the same plane, right? So we got a B minus A, which is the same thing as B plus the opposite of A, and since these are both 4 meters per second, they're going in the same direction, the answer just ends up being 8 meters per second. So for A, our change in velocity is 8 meters per second to the right. So question B says to find the change as it moves from B to C. So again, we're going to go final minus initial, C minus B. And remember with vectors, when you subtract, you just reverse, you flip the second one and add them. So that looks like vector C plus the opposite of vector B. So using the tail to tip method, I go C plus negative B. And my resultant will go from where I started my drawing to where I ended up. So there's the answer. Now I can throw in some numbers and solve for it. All of these are 4, so let me just draw a new triangle here. So I would solve then the magnitude of my resultant. I'd use the Pythagorean theorem, 4 squared plus 4 squared. What's that? 16 plus 16, 32, square root of 32. So I would do that for that, and then to find my direction, I know that that's going to be 45 degrees. So remember that we do directions in physics going from 0 and counterclockwise that way. So really I would call that my direction would be at 135 degrees. Okay? So that's part B. Let's take a look at part C. So part C, we're looking at the change from A to C. So we do the same thing all over again. Here we go. So we're going to do final minus initial, C minus A, is the same thing as adding C plus the opposite of A. So there's C plus negative A. So we have C plus negative A, and my resultant will look like that. Should be a straight line. I can now throw in numbers and use trigonometry to find the magnitude and the direction of my answer. Something to note on all these problems, you could also have done this with vector components. These are really simple because all these vectors A, B, and C are either acting in the x direction or the y direction. So you could just add up the x's and add up the y's components of each vector, and that would be what we would be dealing with. In this case, you'd be subtracting them though because we're looking for differences. All right, hope that helps.